Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to run through how to upgrade your Linux Mint operating system, specifically from Virginia to Wilma, but I believe this should work for most OSs released in the past, I don't know, half decade, so probably 5 to 7 years. That's just an assumption, but that being said, let's jump right in. So I just went out and Googled Linux Mint releases. Going to the Wikipedia page, we can Control F. I know I'm looking for Wilma already, but if you didn't know what the current major release was, you could just scroll down, find the one at the bottom here. In this case, it is in fact Wilma. Was released on the 25th of July, 2024. It is October 4th now, so I'm a little late to the game, but sometimes that lag can be helpful. If there are bugs once it is actually released, sometimes you just end up getting a cleaner, more polished OS that way. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open up my terminal here. Control++, just make that bigger. And just as an aside, if Control+ doesn't work on your terminal to enlarge it in a VM or your main install, a little trick I found a long time ago was if you go here to keyboard shortcuts and you scroll down, double click Control++, just set it back to what it is, and then it auto-magically works. Okay. If you're doing this for the first time, you probably will need to do a sudo apt install, and we are going to do mint upgrade. You'll be prompted for your password. If you've done this before, you can skip this and just run mint upgrade. One thing I should point out, how do you know what release you're on? I believe that's listed in Update Manager. Information maybe. Actually, I'm not sure. It may be hidden in there somewhere. But a way to get that is sudo, and then you're just going to cat out etc os release. And the version code name, I'm on Linux Mint, so that is built off of the Ubuntu Jammy. And if we go back here, we can see indeed Virginia was the last major release before Wilma, so we are good, or we're not too out of date. I'm going to Control L to clear out my terminal, and now sudo mint upgrade. And this is the screen we're looking for. We'll do a let's go. It's going to perform some tests. Just make sure everything looks okay. Then it should prompt me to take a snapshot. This does take just a minute or two, but I'm going to go ahead and pause it here, and I'll pick up as soon as, well, it needs a response from me. Okay, so it's telling me that if something goes wrong, the snapshot will be very helpful in restoring my system. So we're going to want to fix that just to make sure we have a snapshot. If you've never touched snapshots before, one, I would recommend doing them. I don't really schedule mine. I just do it really before major changes, and I don't know, rainy days when I'm bored and it occurs to me, oh, it's been a while since I took a snapshot. But it's pretty straightforward. If you're prompted to create a schedule, just read what it says, use your best judgment, and you'll eventually get to this screen and just create. It's not too painful as far as time-wise, but it will take a few moments, so let me pause it again, and I'll pick up once the snapshot is done. Okay, so now that that's done, wasn't too bad, just 2 or 3 minutes. Just an FYI, in time shift here, when you create a snapshot, you can double click in the comments, enter something like trying new NVIDIA driver, or tagging that with your current working NVIDIA driver. Not that I've ever had bad consequences from not doing a snapshot before changing those, but that aside, we can just close that, and now it's going to keep doing its thing. There might be a few more prompts, but again, this is a pretty long process in total. Alright, saying my packages will point towards the new release, so rather than the pointing to the repos for Virginia, it's going to point towards Wilma. So it's updating that. And again, I'm going to pause it, pick back up when it asks for some more action. Okay, that was really quick. It's just saying it needs to do these actions for everything to line up in order to do the upgrade. I'm just going to say okay. And I'm going to let it run here for a minute. Okay, that was a little painful. So, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes. So not horrible, but I was kind of sitting here waiting for it to finish. Packages will now be upgraded. Okay. And I think that is the final stretch. Okay. Wow. That was probably about an hour and 10 minutes. So that was a long one. I was very wrong. That wasn't really the home stretch. I have an average internet connection. So yours will probably be about the same. I'm kind of glad it played out like this. Just so you have kind of a heads up on how long the different pieces take. You can plan your coffee breaks, walks, meals, family time accordingly. It's telling me that a package needs to be downgraded. So I'm just going to say okay. Let that run. Okay. That wasn't too bad, maybe 4 or 5 minutes after the message to downgrade. And now it's saying all we need to do is restart. So let's go ahead and see if we are good. Reboot anyway. Yeah, it says close terminal and reboot. I'm going to go ahead and just click buttons to force that to happen. See if it actually broke my system. Close some of this. Okay, a little bit of a hang there. And again, that's kind of why I like doing these walkthroughs. Maybe everything goes smooth for you when you try to reproduce it, but these little hiccups, if you see them and then you see them in the video, you know they're normal-ish. And the reboot shouldn't take too long. I feel like those are my famous last words for this entire video. This shouldn't take too long. When I was doing this before, I was working on other things, so I kind of kicked one thing off and went and did something else, and a few hours later I came back and said, oh, it needs a okay or whatnot, and so I couldn't really gauge the time too well. So I guess altogether maybe 2 hours, I'd say, to do this process. And I'm going to give that just another moment. And then I'll shut it down and restart the VM. And hopefully that doesn't make it go sideways. Let's see. Or actually, that's probably the startup, so maybe the startup is just taking a moment. And while that's doing that, oh, I saw some, don't think I can make that bigger. But if you've got nice definition, you probably saw some VBox things down there. So maybe it's taking longer because I'm running in VirtualBox. Maybe it needs to adjust accordingly. I'm fairly certain it's smart enough that that it that it knows how to upgrade a VirtualBox machine. Oh, let's see here. It says it's running. And I just keep seeing that jump back and forth. So let's see. Can I power that off? Definitely not the way you want to do it, but if it's hung and you see kind of a loop, I don't know, maybe just a hard reset will fix that. While that's doing that, I'm going to just go ahead and open up a terminal here on my PC. Again, get the OS information so we can compare it. I'm going to cat the OS release. And we see I'm on Virginia. I'm going to actually pause it here, try not to hit anything, but I'm just going to give it a little time. All right. That took about 5 minutes or so. Not too bad, but I should have read the output. That's what it estimated it would take, or I don't know if that was the limit it was giving itself to run. I did not have that issue when I was running directly on an OS installed on the local machine, not a VM. So I think that is most likely just when you're doing it with a virtual machine, or at least VirtualBox. So, okay. We can make this bigger. And now, moment of truth, we can check out and make sure we are on the latest release, which should be Wilma. And we are indeed on Wilma. And that's based on the Ubuntu codename Noble. That will come in handy if you're used to working with Linux Mint. A lot of things you'll install, you need to substitute out the version code name for the Ubuntu code name. But I've got other videos on that. So that's really all I wanted to show in this video. Hopefully you didn't get too much of whiplash with all the cuts and edits, stops and starts. But again, hopefully I'll have the energy to put this down in the description. You can ration your time accordingly and just kind of know when you need to come back and click a button, and it doesn't really interfere with your life too much. There is another thing though I do want to point out. I'm going to save this for another video, but here if I do Python 3 dash 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 dash, not dash 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 version, this will put you on Python 3.12. If you were on Virginia before, make this one bigger, and Python, I've actually got this alias, so Python 3 or Python will work. I'm on 3.10. There are some caveats there. I'm going to save that for another video. I think this is quite enough, but hopefully you found this useful. gave you some guidance and metrics to go off of, and I will see you in another video.